In this video, we'll show you how to replace the front pads and rotors on your Chevy Colorado. This is located in the front of the vehicle and right behind the wheel. Let's get started. We can remove the lug nuts with a 22 millimeter. Looking at the back side of our caliper, we find two pins going through our pads here. We have a cotter pin towards the inside here. I'm going to pull those cotter pins out. We can do the same with the other one as well. Now I'm going to use a punch and a hammer, and we can go ahead and start to remove the pins. And we can do the same with the other pin. Now we can hold on to the pad spring. Go ahead and set that off to the side. Now we need to create some space between the pistons of the caliper and the pad itself. To do that, I'm just going to use a flathead screwdriver behind the pad between the caliper and the pad. We can pry on the pad just a little bit. And that should give us the wiggle room needed to remove the pads. The ends of the pads may be a little bit rusty and difficult to remove. You can go ahead and use the openings at the top to pry out on the pads. You want to be careful not to damage any of the brake components though. And we can remove the two 18 millimeter bolts on the back side of the knuckle. Now I'm going to use a strap to help hold the caliper up and support it. That way it doesn't fall while we do our work. On the face of the rotor, we have a T30 Torx bit. We'll go ahead and remove that. Now I'm going to strike the face of the rotor with a hammer, being very cautious not to hit any of the studs. Now I'm going to use some brake parts cleaner and a brush and clean up the hub. And I'm going to get the rotor onto the hub. It is backwards right now because I'm just going to clean this off first. Just using the hub to hold up the rotor while we give this a cleaning. A little bit of brake parts cleaner on a rag. You want to clean both sides of the rotor. Apply some anti-seize to the hub. When you install the rotor, make sure that the screw is lined up. We'll get the rotor screw started in, and we'll snug that down. Now we need to compress the cups of the caliper. To do that, I'm going to use a caliper compressor. You can certainly use a brake pad and a large set of pliers. And unhook our strap from the caliper. Make sure you remove the strap from the vehicle. We can start to bring the caliper down to the knuckle and over the rotor. You want to be very careful to not twist the hose. Start to get our hardware in. And we can snug those down. We can torque these to 59 foot-pounds with an additional 30 to 45 degrees. We'll apply some anti-seize just at the ends of the pads. One of your pads will have a squealer. You want this to be on the outside and you want it to be facing down. And slide our pads into the caliper. Start to get the pins in through the backside. And I get them just started through the first pad at first. We can get the spring centered over the pads. Start to get the pin pushed through. Now you can push out on that outer pad. You want to be very cautious not to damage anything in this area. We're going to use a hammer and just lightly tap the pins in. Get the cotter pins installed into the pins through the pads. Make sure that those are seated in and not going to fall out. Before taking it for a test drive, make sure you press in on the brake pedal a few times to reseat the caliper. And get the wheel installed. I like to get the first lug nut in all the way, and that'll help hold the wheel while we do the rest. And we can snug these down in a star pattern. And we can torque these to 140 foot-pounds in a star pattern. Thanks for watching.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.